Hello everybody, welcome to today's show, right? Hope you're having a great day wherever you are. Again, today is like huge, a wide range of news, both good and bad, right? But mostly good. And let's just dive into it. I have just quickly summarized all the key points into one slide, right? So if anyone who is like pressed for time, at least you can get a quick gist by just looking at this one slide. But just the first key news is that Fidelity is said to plan March launch of crypto custody service. Um, Fidelity is huge. They have 7.2 trillion in assets, right? And they're one of the largest asset management firms in Wall Street. And they, in end of last year, Q4 last year, they already have set up a new division of their company, right? Fidelity Digital Asset Services. And now they have already said, now they, this article is published by Bloomberg, so very credible news. And according to people who have knowledge of the matter, so it's not their official news, but people who are very familiar with Fidelity have basically said that, they are looking at targeting the live launch date at March 2019 for their Bitcoin custody service. And first, they're going to only have Bitcoin custody first, and then later on, Ethereum custody will be next. Yeah. And this is why is this so key is that so one of the key reasons that a lot of institutions and a lot of professional investors are not yet in the space, and that's why we don't really see a lot of volumes and not yet another rally, is because a lot of these institutions like family offices, hedge funds, they are not yet ready to come into crypto because there's no a solid name providing custody service, because custody service, which is a asset safekeeping, is very, very common in other asset class like equity bonds. Yeah. And this is clearly lacking in crypto, although Coinbase and other startups have offered custody services for crypto, but it's nothing like a Wall Street firms, right, who have hundreds of years of history like Fidelity. So this is huge. Once they offer this custody, it will then they are looking at targeting only institutional clients, not retail investors at this point. And this can tell you basically that this will add such a high legitimacy to the whole space of cryptocurrency, right? So no longer toys play, right, or child's play, nothing like that. It's really now the big boys game already, right? And so this, with the institutions who come in, then hopefully then it will spark another rally. And this why this news is really huge. And that's why actually I've grouped the first pillar of news all under the legitimacy. Right, the thing is, you see the next few news, the next 3 bullet points is really about current, a lot of scams, a lot of hacks in the industry that, a lot of people are not credible. People just lost trust in the industry currently, right? And this Chain Analysis is a very famous analytics firm in crypto, and they have done an analysis, and now they have shown that, right, actually for all the crypto hacks in the past years, right, only 2 groups are basically the culprit, right? The first group is a giant, tightly controlled organization that may be partly driven by non-monetary goals. Very interesting. Let me get to that later. Second group is smaller, less organized, but absolutely focused on money and without much regard for evading detection. And the key is this. 64% of those hacks are done through centralized crypto exchanges, right? So a few points here. One is the first group is not driven by money. So it could mean that, right, they are hired, right? Sorry, my opinion again, right? My opinion is that they could be paid by some very, very rich people, who are very private, just to, make this whole crypto space not credible and, basically create fear, right? Fear, uncertainty, and doubt, FUD, FUD, in the space that scare away all the weak hands, meaning the retail investors who don't know much, right? Who don't really know the inner workings. And because they see prices are falling, and then and so many hacks, right? They really are scared, and then so that's why shake out the weak hands, and only the strong hands remain. And again, right, this is not official, but just my opinion that there are people, and I think they are really, really rich people, and let's call them the elites, right, who may have manipulated the market this way, right? It is not illegal, right? Because if no one found them, then it's not illegal. And prices then are kept down, and then they can accumulate during this time. This is really what I honestly believe, but of course, this is again my opinion, yeah. And so that's why I think, so you see, it's only two groups, but all these kind of hacks will bring it really bring down a lot of the credibility, just make the whole space look like they don't know what they're doing. So we really need Wall Street to come in. That's what it just showed. And again, New Zealand crypto exchange hack continues. Just 2 weeks ago, there were already news that, right, they were being hacked. 16 million worth of Ethereum and ERC tokens were stolen. And now there's already more news that more Ethereum tokens, again, 200,000, but it could be more by the time, the full investigation continues, again, is being hacked. Next, we have Ukrainian crypto exchange Liquid shuts down. This one, at least they are voluntarily shut down. So they said they will have 1 month, right, to basically return the money back to the investors. So that's good. But you look at their volumes, it's really, really poor, because they had early this year they had almost 4 million exchange trading volume, but now is only almost zero. So it's like almost about 200,000 only, and that's really low, yeah. So that just showed that basically, right, and here there's a tweet, and I think it's really on point. Travis Kling is formerly from Wall Street again, and he's basically said, right, you need to have maybe the bear market to really then separate out the strong hands, right, and really the weak hands. And this is more of the players who are really the strong ones, who are really the legit ones, versus those scammers, right, or those that just they just set up an exchange and then they don't really have much funding behind it, or they don't have a lot of commitment behind it. And before then only we can go higher. So all these points are really linked, because you see, you have all these exchanges, right? New exchanges, a lot of startups that in a way is I don't really know what they're doing, right? That's why there are so many closure. And then Cryptopia, the security is certainly not good. That's why it's being hacked, right? And now you really need someone like Fidelity to come in and really encourage. So that's why institutions are not there to come in, right? Yeah. And next up, Gemini Crypto Exchange is owned by Cameron Tyler Winklevoss, right? And they are basically now voluntarily open up their exchange for audits by one of the big four audit firm, Deloitte. And this is really huge, because the audit is basically reviewing their confidentiality, their security, their privacy, their processing integrity, and the funds availability. And this is really good. I think basically then all this action will add really a lot of legitimacy to this space. And then you really need the big players to pump a lot of money to space. Then only we can have the second rally. Yeah. Next, right, we have a lot of government-related news again. And government is very important, because honestly, it is important to see where they are headed, what directions they want to take with crypto, because whatever it is, they play a big part. And especially in terms of news, right, when we have bad news, the market react really, really fast, versus when we have a good news, the market doesn't really react. Yeah, it's just asymmetry in that sense. So first up, we have South Korea saying it won't issue a digital currency in the near future. This is interesting, because now they're just officially come out and say that they won't issue digital currency, which is good news, right? Whereas we had yesterday, Iran said they might issue a digital currency. So I think this is certainly good. Next, we have US Congress passes bill to require study of crypto in sex and drug trafficking. This is again one of those things I thought, so US Congress is really concerned about people using crypto to, increase activity of sex and drug trafficking. But my sense is that really, before crypto is created, all these illegal or illicit activities are already being in place, right? It's not like it's just created because of crypto. I mean, and I really hope that the US, right, can focus more on like seeing what regulations can foster more innovations in the space, rather than, focus on the other end, right? I mean, I think it's a good move, definitely, to clamp down on illegal activities like sex and, illegal sex and drug trafficking. But then you should go back to the roots, meaning you should really see how do you improve the living standard of the people, right? So that they don't and they don't have an incentive to go illegal to do things like drug trafficking, right? If they have proper jobs and if they, if they have granted good income, then they won't engage in all these illegal activities, right? So I think that the focus of the government need to be more, more direct in the right position, yeah. The other thing is of course, then with regulations like this, right, and a lot of uncertainty and delay in passing the clear regulation on crypto, a lot of the talent and the money are flowing to places like Malta, right, which is really, really crypto friendly, yeah. Next, UAE, Saudi Arabian digital currency able to be restricted to select banks at start. So UAE and Saudi Arabia have created their own digital currency called ABRA, and I think this is interesting because they're very cautious that they are only saying that that it is only a proof of concept at this stage, right? And they are not really, how do I say, this is not a full-blown usage yet, and they're only going to limit the usage for now to just a limited number of players. So I see this is very interesting. That also show that, right, that they are very cautious in launching out their own central bank digital currencies. Perhaps they do see that people will not really use it because, they have seen the cases in Venezuela, and people will rather use a private one, right, like the Bitcoin, right, where it's really truly decentralized, yeah. Bitcoin taxes, 61% of holders won't report losses to IRS. Now, this is interesting because, so 2017, we had a bull run, right? And a lot of people make a lot of money. But in 2018, we have the completely opposite, yeah? But the thing is then, US investors have to report their tax position, and because 2018 they lost money, they can actually, if they report that, they can actually get back some tax credit. And the interesting thing is there was a survey done, and then they found that 61% of the people don't even realize that, those people who lost money don't even realize that they could claim a tax deduction. So definitely, if you are watching this, so please pass this message around to your friends and colleagues, families who actually lost money, and definitely they should as well report these losses. But perhaps on another side, I think, why wouldn't they report? Perhaps they don't want the government to know that they have crypto, right? So it's that privacy nature, and also they don't want to have the flip side where in the future crypto gain a lot, they don't want to pay up a lot of the capital gains tax. So I do see some valid reasons as well as to why people would not want to report. Yeah. Next, Iran in talks with 8 countries for use of cryptocurrency in financial transactions. So yesterday we had the news that they are looking at potentially issuing their own cryptocurrencies, and now they said that they're actually holding negotiations with 8 countries, namely Switzerland, South Africa, France, England, Russia, Austria, Germany, and Bosnia, right, to see how they can use the cryptocurrencies. And this is interesting, although they also said that using cryptocurrency as methods of payment inside the country is prohibited. So that means you can only do global transfers. Is that what it means? But it's still not clear their regulations as to whether Bitcoin is allowed or not. Because I think there was an article saying that some cryptocurrencies are allowed, but then they haven't actually said which ones are allowed. But it's interesting to note that more than $10 million worth of Bitcoin is traded in Iran each day. That's quite a lot, right? Considering if it's not fully allowed. Yeah. On the building side, that means, as all this government continue to have their own regulations, continue to make up their mind about crypto, a lot of hacks in the industry continue to build, and that is really, really good. Yeah. So first we have Swiss University Shaw and Swisscom, which is the telecoms company there. They have developed an e-signature for smart contracts, and this is really key. What happened was that they now have come up with a technology called an e-signature that legally authenticate blockchain powered smart contracts. And this is really good because then with this in place, right, this will really enhance all this development of and rolling out and launch of smart contracts, right, that is supposed to be the really big use case of cryptocurrency, right? Apart from medium of exchange, of store of value, then smart contracts, if we have one really good use case, then that will be really a boon for the crypto industry. And now this e-signature will be one key enabler. Volume of transactions in Africa has risen 130% in 2018. This is huge. And this is based on Paxful, who is a peer-to-peer exchange. And they are one of the big player to facilitate this actually. Because they allow a lot of the people in Africa to buy crypto using debit cards and gift cards. And that's huge because gift card and voucher are the most popular form of payment to buy Bitcoin. And really, really good because this just shows that adoption is increasing, right? Payment service provider Alliance introduces free crypto processing. This is more for the merchant side. So on one hand, Africa, you do see a lot of investors, or you can say consumers, adopting crypto. You also need a lot of merchants and businesses to adopt crypto, because then that can really encourage the usage of crypto. And now that you have a firm based in US, that actually Alliance Payments, that they're basically offering, that means zero fee to merchants. And that is basically a no-brainer, because merchants have to pay 2 to 4% merchant fee to banks to process their payment. And now if they can use crypto, and if they sign up with this firm, it is zero fee. It means huge thing for companies with small margins. And the thing is this, for now though, they are only offering to select merchants in US or Europe. Not clear what's the qualification required, but I guess you have to have certain size, right? That means you have certain volumes. Ledger Live launches mobile app. Why I want to say this, because Ledger is a very, is the number one cold wallet out there. And most people listening to this may have, I myself have a Ledger Nano as well, Ledger S as well. And now they are officially launching the Ledger Live, which is that manager version, on mobile. The thing is, because they also recently launched a Nano X, right, which is the complete, it is really a mobile version. That if you're using a Nano X, then you can just directly Bluetooth, you can use the connection of Bluetooth and connect to that app of Ledger Live. But if you're using Ledger Nano S, then you still have to use an Android phone and you need a cable. Yeah. Okay. Crypto micropayments and Apple. This is really, really huge, because so what happened was this. There was first a news saying that, right, Apple is considering to have to launch games where they will charge a monthly subscription service. So the thing is this, there is not official news yet by Apple, but why is it good for crypto? Because now not a lot of people will use their Apple phone, right, to play games. So then not many people will sign up for this monthly subscription. But of course, there are a lot of gamer and players out there as well, no doubt. So one better way for Apple is to use crypto, because then they can charge by the seconds of playing the games, right? And they can charge by very low fees. And cryptocurrency will enable this micropayment, and only cryptocurrency can enable this. And this is really huge. Now, if Apple really go ahead with this monthly subscription, it makes sense for them to actually use crypto, accept crypto, right, as their payment. And if Apple were really to be a merchant to accept crypto, this will be again a big, big news for the crypto industry. Adult firm startup accept crypto payments. So again, this just right. I mean, I think every now and then you do hear people accept crypto, be it legit businesses or interesting services like adult firm startup, right? And now they call intimacy.io, and now that they're going to accept crypto payments, and they're going to have their own token as well. Next, you have Wikipedia accepting cryptocurrency, and this is good because Wikipedia, they now officially said in a Twitter tweet that they're going to accept Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, right? Because honestly, they have been barred to take in payments from PayPal, right? So this is really good. The last news is really, really nice, and I will participate in this movement. There's a Bitcoin Lightning Torch movement, like the Olympic Games, right, where there's a torch being passed around the globe. Now there's a Bitcoin Lightning version as well. What happens is that a Twitter user known as Hodornaut, he has started a tweet, and basically he called it the Lightning Torch, and he basically started just passing on this lightning payments, right, to people who we know, and then they keep passing on and on. It started on January 19th, and now it is interesting. It has already gathered 2.3 million satoshis, which is $78. I think this is just a very interesting, fun way, a movement to definitely make people use Lightning Network. One, test it out, right, and also test whether it can really process very, very small payments, micro payments, right? This is really huge. And yeah, that's all I have today. But definitely, right, I see this overall space is really moving in the right direction, because you do have now, for a long time, we need really, the long awaited Wall Street names to come up with a official news that they are launching a custody. And at least this news is published by Bloomberg, right? So I think it is quite credible. But now we just need Fidelity to come out officially and say that they are offering custody for Bitcoin, and then, right, the market. And all this is happening in March. Very interesting. And of course, BACT is also expected to be launched around that time. Then let's all fingers crossed that, crypto will rally by then, right? Anyway, and I hope you're having a great time, everyone. And for all of you, if you like this, please leave a like, comments, right? And for Newscast Format, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your support. Thank you again. Hope you're having a great day wherever you are. God bless. Thank you.